You like spy movies, Mr. DeVere?
The old ones. Marvelous.
Give me a far-fetched theatrical plot any day.
Welcome to Kingsman.
Manners?
Maketh man.
I've never met a tailor before, but I know you ain't one.
So what was your experience like coming into Huntsman at that time when I guess the whole Kingsman phenomenon is kicking off? Can you remember it?
I'd actually been involved. I'd made some calls for Matthew Vaughn, the producer, before at Kilgore, and a couple of bits and bobs at Hayward, where it was before that, after Kilgore. And so I, bit of a relationship with Matthew, doing some wardrobe, some personal clothes for him. So I was called in to do a rushed velvet jacket last minute for Colin Firth for the first Kingsman movie. So that was a kind of pull to come here because I knew that there was going to be more movies in the offing. So that was one of the reasons I thought maybe great to come here. So around about at that time, they were just beginning to talk about the Golden Circle,
Right?
Which we're involved in as well. So it's all very exciting when you get part of that movie world where things have to happen yesterday. So it's a lot of fun.
But you did make at least the orange smoking jacket for number 2, though, right?
That's
from what
right.
I saw.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure how much of number 2 was done by Huntsman because I haven't seen the movie yet, unfortunately, the second one.
Yeah.
But I did see that was made by Huntsman.
Matthew liked to save the kind of iconic looks for us to do. So it's completely true to Kingsman and Huntsman, alike.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's one of the most iconic jackets that I think you'll see in probably the last 4 or 5 years, and it's been so riffed upon. I mean, I worked in a tailor's in London a couple of years ago, and they brought out their own version of this kind of burnt orange jacket. Does that really bug you that other tailors were starting to take that trend, as it were?
We should be flattered. Funny thing was that I was in a trunk show in the US when the call came through about this orange jacket, and it was Matthew saying, "You got to find me an orange velvet," and I was thinking, "Yeah, I've never seen it before." So we actually went to a really good cloth shop in Manhattan called B&J Fabrics and found the exact velvet and brought it back to London. But the funny thing is, Matthew he's actually colorblind, so he has to rely on others to help him out there.
Oh, wow. That I did not know.
That's
I did not know that.
And also, I think one of the major pulls of the movie was the kind of juxtaposition between the two characters and the chemistry between the two. And so would you have said that this has introduced a younger market now and people are now more interested, or I guess at that time, did you notice a real peak of younger people coming in and asking for, say, bespoke suits?
Totally. I mean, I've got a client who's probably late 40s, early 50s, and he was so pleased that his son, when he told his son where he was coming for a suit, it was cachet for him to tell his son that, and that's quite nice. And like I said, it's not just Huntsman that can be thankful; it's the whole Savile Row. It's really brought a younger clientele and also international as well. The statistics of the amount of people in Korea that've seen it, not South Korea, that've seen the movie. I think it's like 1 in 4, 1 in 3 people have seen it. So
wow,
that's amazing to throw a net that far. Roger Moore, it was just hearing his voice.
Oh wow!
in the back of the shop, I was like, wow, when you've grown up with Bond movies your whole life and you just hear that voice, it's so iconic. It was his voice more than meeting him. You know, it's just ingrained in your, you know, I shouldn't say it, but he's my favourite. You know, I should be saying Sean Connery, but I guess it's he grew up with, you know, and yeah, that was something else, meeting him.
Can you remember what you fitted Roger for?
Double-breasted blazer.
Nice.
Classic Roger.
Yeah.
His Excalibur, right? I guess.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I guess now that Kingsman, the one coming out, I guess that's a good dry run for something of blockbuster magnitude, right?
Yeah, we had quite a few garments to make for the third one. Multiples for Harris Dickinson, who plays Conrad, and Rafe, who plays the Duke of Oxford. Stanley Tucci, Aaron Taylor Johnson. So you know that was a real. The third one is fantastic because it obviously the weights of cloth from these times were, you know, we've gone back to working with those weights. You know, average winter weight suits 13 ounce. We were working with minimum 16 and upwards to 22, which, you know, is just a joy to work with. And it, you know, if you can see the mannequin here behind me, this is one of Harris Dickinson's that wasn't used. Fantastic cloth from Mallows of Delve, so an old mill up in Yorkshire.
Beautiful.
We went back to the cutting books. Michelle Clapton, was in charge of the wardrobe, who'd worked on The Crown and Game of Thrones before, is a good friend of Pierre Lagrange. That's kind of the reason she got introduced to Matthew, and the rest is history. But she had a great eye for texture and colour, because you've got to remember, although these images were in black and white, when you go back to the cloth ledgers of those days, things were actually quite colourful. Quite zingy. So, like I said, we went back to the cutting books of the 1920s and reworked a draft in one of the kind of cutting manuals by a guy called J.P. Thornton. He was at the kind of master of cutting training. So he fantastic volume of fashion plates and patterns and how to draft them. And we took one of these drafts and used Harris as the model, and really worked on the shoulder line, the waistline, the really high armhole. So it was great fun to work on something completely different. Take an old-fashioned looking garment and kind of give it a breath of fresh air.